بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا بفضلك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين. تبشيره صلى الله عليه وسلم لمن مات لا يشرك بالله شيئا بدخول الجنة. Welcome everyone, inshallah ta'ala. We're going to be reading from Hayatus Sahabah by Sheikh Yusuf al-Kandahli rahimahullah ta'ala. And as usual, I'm going to read the Arabic first, then I'm going to translate and then make brief commentary and then move on to the next hadith, inshallah ta'ala. So bear with me as I read the Arabic, inshallah ta'ala. وأخرج الشيخان عن أبي ذر رضي الله تعالى عنه قال خرجت ليلة من الليالي فإذا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يمشي وحده وليس معه إنسان فقلت إنه يكره أن يمشي معه أحد قال فجعلت أمشي في ظل القمر فالتفت فرآني فقال من هذا فقلت أبو ذر جعلني الله فداك قال يا أبا ذر وقال يا أبا ذر تعالى قال فمشيت معه ساعة فقال إن المكثرين هم المقلون يوم القيامة إلا من أعطاه الله خيرا فنفح فيه عن يمينه وشماله وبين يديه وورائه وعمل فيه خيرا قال فمشيت معه ساعة فقال لي اجلس ها هنا قال فأجلسني في قاع حوله حجارة فقال لي ها هنا حتى أرجع إليه قال فانطلق في الحرة حتى لا أراه فلبث عني فأطال اللبث ثم إني سمعته يقول وهو مقبل وإن زنى وإن سرق قال فلما جاء لم أصبر فقلت يا نبي الله جعلني الله فداك من تكلم في جانب الحرة ما سمعت أحدا يرجع إليك شيئا قال ذاك جبريل عرض لي في جانب الحرة فقال بشر أمتك من مات لا يشرك بالله شيئا دخل الجنة فقلت يا جبريل وإن زنى وإن سرق قال نعم فقلت يا رسول الله وإن سرق وإن زنى قال نعم قلت وإن سرق وإن زنى قال نعم وإن شرب الخمر كذا في جمع الفوائد قال وزاد مع الترمذي في أخرى نحوها في المرة الرابعة على رغم أنف أبي ذر. So this is a very popular hadith of Abu Dharr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. This hadith, the translation, the heading is glad tidings of entering Jannah for all those who dies with Iman and they do not commit or they don't associate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala any other gods. In other words, those who die with Iman and they die without doing any act of shirk. Shaykhan, Bukhari and Muslim, the reports, and I mentioned to you before as well that this is a very beautiful book. My advice to all of you, inshallah ta'ala, to purchase this book. It's called Hayatus Sahabah by Yusuf al-Kandahlawi, and read this book and read a story and think about it, because a lot of people made all these allegations, some juhal actually, that he has a lot of fabrication, etc. That is not true. Okay, the book has various authentic hadiths. Yes, there are some weak hadiths as well, but he gave references so you could recognize them. People who have knowledge, they'll understand this. So anyway, Bukhari and Muslim reports from the authority of Abu Dharr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He says that kharajtu laylatan min al-layl, one night I went out and I saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was walking alone and no one was walking with him. I thought to myself that maybe the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will just like someone to walk with him. Therefore I walked behind him. Suddenly the Prophet ﷺ turned around and he saw me and he said, who is this? So I said, it's me, Abu Dharr. And look at the reply. He said, it's me, Abu Dharr, but that's not enough, the answer. Companions, they were in a different level of love for the Prophet ﷺ. He could have said that, yes, it's me, Abu Dharr. He said, Abu Dharr, ja'alani Allahu fidaka. He said, it's me, Abu Dharr. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sacrifice me for you, O Prophet of Allah. The Prophet ﷺ said, Abu Dharr, come closer. He said that I went next to the Prophet ﷺ, and then as he was walking, I walked alongside the Prophet ﷺ. Wow, what a beautiful moment for Abu Dharr. Yes, no one is there. And it's in the night as well, when it's so calm. People are sleeping, and no one is walking around except for Rasulullah ﷺ, and Abu Dharr is walking with the Prophet ﷺ. How lucky Abu Dharr is. That's why we love all Sahaba. All the companions, we love them because of the suhbah. Because you don't know how many companions they spend time with the Prophet ﷺ in difficult occasions. We don't know. Okay, we just read the hadith that so and so Sahabi and narrate this hadith from the Prophet ﷺ. When you read Hayatus Sahabah, then you find out that how lucky are these companions. So many of them, they have different stories to tell us. They have. Have you read this hadith? And the Prophet, one of the Sahabi said that anyone, what do you call it? Anyone, any Sahabi that you speak to, he will tell you that he thinks the Prophet of Allah loves him the most. Okay, this is how the Prophet of Allah was towards his companions. Yeah, anyone spend 5 minutes with them, the Prophet of Allah will give them that 5 minutes. It will be the best 5 minutes of his life. Yeah, Abu Dhar, that's why every companion they used to feel that I think I am, I love the Prophet of Allah the most, or every companion they should think that I think that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, okay, has gives me more attention. Okay, this is how they used to think like that. All companions, Subhanallah, 100,000 could say exactly the same thing about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So anyway, moving on, he said that I walked with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Suddenly, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said to me, "Inna al-mukthirin humul muqilluna yawm al-qiyamah." He said, the one who has abundant of wealth, they will have the least of wealth on the day of Qiyamah, except for the one who gives his wealth for the sake of Allah and he spends on his right, on his left, in front of him and behind him, and he uses his money for all good causes. Let's stop here for a moment. A lot of people, they boast that I've got this much money, I've got that much money, and I've got 50,000 pounds saved and 60,000 pounds saved or 100,000 pounds saved, and etc. The companions of Rasulullah SAW, they had a different understanding about wealth. Their understanding about money and wealth was completely different. And the Prophet ﷺ nurtured them in a way that they always spend for the cause of Allah. They don't keep on collecting them. And the acquisition of wealth leads to tughyan, leads people to behave in a way that they demonstrate their arrogance every single time. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said. Now, this is not a criticism to those who have wealth, okay? But it's a reminder to them that what do you do with your wealth? So what happened here? He said, the innal mukthirin, the Prophet ﷺ said, those who have a lot of wealth, they will have qalil, they will have very less on the day of Qiyamah, except for the one who spend their money for the sake of Allah. They spend on the right, on the left, in front of them, behind them, and they spend their money for all good causes. The reason why the Prophet ﷺ mentioned them is that you should have this intention that if Allah gives me money, inshallah ta'ala, I will spend this money for good causes. Okay, spending on your family members is also good causes. Spending on your siblings, spending on your wife, on your husband, spending on your relatives, your parents, and all your close relatives. Okay, Silatul Rahim, if you maintain the ties of kinship, these are all good causes as well. Helping madrasas and masjids and maktabs and etc. These are all good causes, and it's a month of Ramadan. A lot of people are, they usually get zakat money. A lot of people around the world, they wait for your zakat money, they wait for the fidya, they wait for the sadaqah. There are a lot of people are nowadays, because of COVID-19, they are actually waiting. So this is the best time, inshallah ta'ala, that we spend for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. When we give money, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us barakah in our reminder, inshallah ta'ala, in the remaining wealth that we have. Moving on, Abu Dhar said, then I walked, after he said that to me, then I continued walking for a moment of time. Then the Prophet ﷺ said to me, sit here, Abu Dhar. And then then the Prophet ﷺ made me sit on a rock. Okay, and he was surrounded by a lot of stones and rocks. And then he said that you will remain here until I get back to you. In other words, the Prophet was saying that don't worry, I know it's night time, but you won't be attacked and nothing will bad happen to you. You just stay here. Secondly, don't follow me. I mean, the Prophet ﷺ is going to, maybe he's going to address someone that if Abu Dhar were to see, then, his eyes are not ready to see this and he might be afraid. Imagine the Prophet of Allah speaks to a jinn, for example, or he speaks to an angel in this original form. That's why he said that you remain here, don't follow me, let me get back to you. Then he said, فَانْطَلَقَ فِي الْحَرَّةِ. The Prophet of Allah, he walked into a rocky path, a rocky place, and I could not, and he disappeared from my eyes that I couldn't see him. And then the Prophet ﷺ, after a moment of time, he returned. And then when he was returning, I heard him whispering, and I heard him clearly saying that وَإِن زَنَا وَإِن سَرَقَ. Even if he does adultery and if he were to do the act of stealing, even if he done the act of adultery, and even if he stole. Oh, I couldn't wait. Abu Dhar said that I could not hold my patience anymore. I said, "Oh Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sacrifice me for you. You know, who are you talking to behind this rock?" Yeah, I did not hear anyone else replying to you. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "I'm talking to Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam." The Prophet said, "I was speaking to Jibril. Jibril, he appeared behind this rock, and he said that, oh Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, give glad tidings to your ummah that they will all enter Jannah. Okay, that give glad tidings to your ummah that the one who dies without committing shirk, he will enter Jannah." So I said, "Oh Jibril, what if that person, were to commit adultery and theft?" He said, "Oh Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even na'am, even if he does that, he will still enter Jannah." So Abu Dharr radiallahu ta'ala, he was so happy as well, but at the same time he was shocked that this stealing and committing adultery is major sins, but they will still enter Jannah. So he said that I heard this one and I repeated. I said, "Wa in zana wa in saraqa." Oh Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did you really say that? That even if the person were to steal and do zina, but he will still end up going Jannah? The Prophet said, "Wa in zana wa in saraqa." I said it for the second time as well. And for the third time, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Wa in sharib al khamra," even if he were to drink alcohol as well. This hadith is mentioned in Jam' al Fawaid. Also, is mentioned in At-Tirmidhi as well. Imam At-Tirmidhi mentioned, except that Imam At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah ta'ala, Bukhari and Muslim, they mention this hadith obviously, but Imam At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah ta'ala, in his narration, we have the addition, the Prophet of Allah said, وَإِنَّ رَغِمَ أَنْفِ عَلَى رَغْمِ أَنْفِ أَبِي ذَرٍ. Despite, literally means even Abu Dhar nose is rubbed in dust. Okay, I mean even Abu Dhar doesn't like this. Okay, because Abu Dhar, the way he was questioning that, he found it very difficult to believe. Okay, he's not rejecting the Prophet's word. It's just that he was so shocked and surprised. So the Prophet ﷺ said, even if Abu Dhar dislikes this as well, okay, but they are going to Jannah. Abu Dhar, by the way, whenever he narrates this hadith, he used to repeat this at the end. When the Prophet said, "Ala raghmi anfi Abi Dhar," so he used to repeat that because the Prophet ﷺ criticized me, and the Prophet ﷺ said something about, he mentioned my name. The Prophet could mention my name. Yes, he said that even if Abu Dhar disliked this, okay, but the word came out from the mouth of Rasulullah sallallahu. He said that even Abu Dhar disliked this. So whenever he should narrate this hadith, is to say that ala raghmi anfi Abi Dhar. So what do we learn from this hadith? We learn one thing, very important thing that we learn is that major sins does not take one out of Islam. This is very important. Major sins. Sometimes people commit sins and they said that, what, it's not, I can't, there's no point me doing any good deeds anymore. I don't need to do any any good deeds. I don't have to pray salah. I don't have to fast in the month of Ramadan, etc. You know why? Because I'm a sinful person. I've done a lot of sins and etc. Remember this, okay? The hadith is telling us that major sins does not take you out of Iman. Okay? People who commit major sins, you have committed major sin, do tawbah, repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you know what? As long as you hold firm into Iman, even if you commit major sins, the time will come when Allah will take you out of Jahannam, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make you enter into Jannah. I said to you before as well that Muslims and mu'mins, because of the sins, will go to Jahannam. They will go to Jahannam so that they will be purified from the sins. It's for purification of the sins. Okay, they are not going there for humiliation. The disbelievers will go to Jahannam, they will be humiliated there. وَلِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ, Allah says. Ihana. The disbelievers will go to Jahannam, they will have ihana, they will be there punished for the sins and for the disbelief and because of the kufr and because of the shirk, and they will be humiliated. As for the Muslims and the mu'mins will go to Jahannam because of the sins they've committed, they will be there until they are purified from the sins, and then they will be taken out of Jahannam, and then they will be asked to go to Jannah. Even the person who done a lot of sins, and he will be there so long, even the last person to come out of Jahannam, subhanallah, when he will be taken out of Jahannam, his body will be burnt, whole body will be burnt, etc. And then he will be asked to be bathed in a water called Ma'ul Hayat. Okay, and Nahrul Hayat. He will be taken to a river. It's called the river of life, and he will be given ghusl there. The moment he will have ghusl there, subhanallah, his skin and everything will be back alive. Like it's like he's got another new life again. He will look so beautiful that he himself would not recognize himself. So, wow, what has happened? He will forget all the punishment that he's got in Jahannam. Okay, and then this person will say to Allah that, oh Allah, can I get at least closer to Jannah? Because after he will have the ghusl, he's not going to Jannah yet. He's just got to skin everything back. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, okay, fine, I will take you closer to Jannah. But if I will take you there, promise me that you're not going to ask me any more questions. He will say that, okay, I promise you that I'm not going to ask you any more questions. So we'll go near the gate of Jannah. And then sometime, on the gates, from through the gate, he will see all the ni'mah. The people are enjoying themselves in Jannah, relaxing, rejoicing, laughing and giggling, eating, drinking, relaxing. He will see all that, and then he will remain, because you remember he made the promise he would not say anything like that. Then he can't, he couldn't take any. So suddenly he said, oh Allah, please enter me into, a little bit more closer to Jannah. I could see from far away, but let me take me right next to the gate so that I could at least smell the fragrance of Jannah. I want to go right next to it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, you're the one who said to me, you're not going to ask me any more questions. He said, I promise you that if you take me right next to the gate, where I could be really close to Jannah, I could just smell the fragrance, I'll be happy with that, because I admit that I don't deserve it, but please let me go. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take him right next to the gate of Jannah. When he will go, this time you could hear the words and the conversation that people are having, and etc. And he could see things more clearly. And when he will hear all that, he will do sabr for a moment of time, would not say anything like that. Then later on, he will say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, now I could hear them and I can't take it anymore. Allah, please let me enter into Jannah. You are so merciful. You are so kind. And he will praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Azza wa Jal said that, you know what, you made a covenant with me. You made a promise with me. Okay? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to him, anyway, go enter into Jannah. Okay? And Allah said, not only the Jannah that you see, I'm not going to give you only this Jannah. I will give you a Jannah 10 times bigger than this. Subhanallah, the last person to go Jannah, he will have a Jannah 10 times bigger than this wall. It's not going to be a small Jannah, he's going to get a massive Jannah, subhanallah. Imagine those who will enter Jannah, ma'al faizin al-awwalin, with those who will enter Jannah right from the very beginning. Right in the very beginning. This is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he always gave hope to people. Don't lose hope. Don't think that I'm the last person I'm not going to enter Jannah because I'm committing sins. No, major sins does not take you out of Iman. Remember this. What takes you out of Iman is your own characteristics. Yeah, you deliberately utter the words of kufr. What takes you out of Iman? That you deliberately say that I don't want to be Muslim anymore. I don't want to be a mu'min anymore. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. May Allah save us all from that. Yeah, if you utter the words like that and you start doing the work, the act of shirk or kufr, then you're out of Islam. But if you just commit sins, we are human beings, Allah knows this. All you have to do is raise your hand and repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is all merciful. He will forgive your sins, inshaAllah ta'ala. Moving on to the next hadith. This is the hadith of Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu's hadith is mentioned by Imam Ahmad. Yes, it is mentioned by Imam Ahmad. وأخرج أحمد عن زينب امرأة عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنهما قالت: كان عبد الله إذا جاء من حاجة فانتهى إلى الباب تنحنح وبزق كراهة أن يهجم منا على أمر يكرهه. قالت: وإنه جاء ذات يوم فتنحنها وعندي عجوز ترقيني من الحمرة فأدخلتها تحت السرير. قالت: فدخل فجلس إلى جانبي فرأى في عنقي خيطا فقال: ما هذا الخيط؟ قالت: قلت: خيط رقي لي فيه. فأخذه فقطعه ثم قال: إن آل عبد الله لأغنياء عن الشرك. سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: إن الرقى والتمائم والتولة شرك. قالت: قلت: لم تقول هذا وقد كانت عيني تقذف فكنت أختلف إلى فلان اليهودي يرقيها فكان إذا رقاها سكنت. فقال: إنما ذاك من الشيطان كان ينخسها بيده فإذا رقاها كف عنها. إنما كان يكفيك أن تقولي كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: أذهب البأس رب الناس اشفي وأنت الشافي لا شفاء إلا شفاؤك شفاء لا يغادر سقما. كذا في التفسير لابن كثير. This is the hadith of Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Imam Ahmad reports from the authority of Zainab. Zainab She is the wife of Abdullah bin Mas'ud. May Allah be pleased with them both. She said, whenever Abdullah bin Mas'ud is to come to the house for a need, then he would come near the door and then he would make a noise with his throat. He would pretend that he's coughing or he's dry spitting. Because in the olden days they never had a doorbell. Okay, so he would come, either he would knock on the door or he would basically cough. Yeah, because normally if you knock on the door, then people would think that this is someone else. Abdullah bin Mas'ud is talking, even he's coming to his own house, even he's coming to his own house, they wouldn't do surprise, like we do nowadays. Yeah, he would actually make a noise. That was his habit. He would cough like that. Or yeah, and with this he will basically alert his family members that it is Abdullah bin Mas'ud that is about to enter the house now. And she said the reason why he should do this as well is that he didn't like to enter the house unexpectedly. Okay, he didn't like that. He was Abdullah bin Mas'ud, something that he should do. So companions were like this, very, some of everything the companion they do, subhanallah, they do it for a hikmah, for a wisdom. And because one day, same thing happened. He returned home and he made a noise with his throat. And at that time, I had an elderly lady. Yeah, she was reading some ruqya. She was chanting and reciting some words. Okay, because I had a fever, and due to the fever, I had some skin disease, some skin rash. So she was reciting something to me. So because she wasn't a Muslimah, she was a Jewish lady, and she was reciting something, and I know Abdullah bin Masud might not like it. So I said to her, hide under my bed. فَأَدْخَلْتُهَا تَحْتَ السَّرِيرِ. So I made her hide under the bed. Abdullah bin Mas'ud, he entered the house and he sat right next to me. And then he saw a thread on my neck because the lady read something, okay, hocus pocus, and whispered something like that, and then put it into her neck. And then Abdullah bin Mas'ud realized straight away. He said, مَا هَذَا الْخَيْط? What is this in your throat, on your neck that I see? This is a thread there. What is this thread? She said that, oh, it is a thread that someone read some ruqya. Okay, someone chanted the names and done some chanting, and done some incantations, and that's why I kept it there. Okay, he said, okay. He grabbed it off my neck, took it, and destroyed it. And then he said, the family of Abdullah bin Mas'ud, they are free from shirk. I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that incantations and talisman and amulets, they are all shirk. Basically, the taweez and ruqya people do, and they have things hanging on the neck and arms, etc. These are all shirk. Yeah, this is what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. I'll make a comment on that inshallah later on. Then he said, قُلْتُ لَهُ, I said, the wife said to the husband, Abdullah bin Mas'ud, why are you saying this? I had problem. My eyes were hurting. Then I went to see a Yehudi man, and he recited something on a thread as well. Okay, and when he used to recite, then my eyes used to find comfort. Yeah, Abdullah bin Mas'ud said that is the act of shaitan. The shaitan was poking in your eyes. When he was reciting, then he stopped poking. That's why you found calmness in your eyes. All you need to do, and then he started teaching, because you know what, a Sahabi, they always like to propagate the words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They wouldn't believe in any action of anyone else in the community. He said, why didn't you recite the following dua taught to us by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when someone is ill, they should recite the following dua: أذهب البأس رب الناس. Yeah, once again, أذهب البأس رب الناس اشفي أنت الشافي لا شفاء إلا شفاؤك شفاء لا يغادر سقما. So the meaning is that remove the illness, O Lord of the men, O Lord of people. Ishfi, give cure. You are the one who grants cure. There is no cure except the cure that comes from you. O Allah, give such cure that it does not leave behind any other ailments, any other illnesses. What a beautiful dua of the Prophet ﷺ. Basically, Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he didn't like the fact that this person is basically his wife, that she went to a Yehudi. She went to a Yahudiya. She went to other communities for help. When we have Rasulullah ﷺ with us, when the Prophet of Allah has taught us the du'as, when we have Quran, when we have Sunnah, then why are we basically, using amulets and ta'weed that we don't even know what they're reciting? It's in other language, it's not even Arabic language. You don't know what the person is reciting. So that is actually the summary of, what do you call it, amulets and taweez and all the things that people they have, what do you call it, this talisman and amulets in their necks and in their hands. That is it permissible? The answer is that it is permissible with conditions. Okay, it is permissible with condition. If it's got the words of Quran, the words of Allah and Sunnah and Atiyah, then it is permissible. Okay. However, if it's something that you don't know what it is, you don't know what's written there, you don't know if the person is using Quran or Sunnah, then it is not permissible. In the Jahiliyyah days, the reason why Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu quoted the hadith is because there was two problems at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that people, when they were using these amulets. Number one, they used to have the names of idols there, because the people were very close to Jahiliyyah, and they would write Lat and Uzza and the name of Hubal, all the name of idols they used to write it there. Okay, this is the reason why it was haram. The second reason why it was haram is that some people, they used to believe that these amulets, they used to possess the inherent quality of healing. They used to believe that they basically, well, as soon as you basically put this tawiz on, you will get better straight away. They used to believe that these things are mu'athir with that these amulets will cure you straight away. They used to believe that they have the power. Na'udhu billah, that's wrong. This is not permissible as well. These are the two reasons why the Prophet ﷺ said that people they're not allowed to hang any amulets like that. That's what the scholars have said. If you use the verse of the Quran or the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ and then it will be permissible. It is like if someone's got a headache, they use paracetamol, they eat paracetamol. Okay, we don't believe the paracetamol will take away, but this is the means that we choose, because that's what we've been, yeah. And the ultimate cure comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So amulets actually fall under that as well. However, if someone completely rejects amulets and doesn't use it at all, okay, that's not a problem as well. That is the best thing to do, as inshallah ta'ala. That's why the companions, they had no amulets. Okay, except for mentioned by Abdullah Amr ibn al-As radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that he used to write sometime and let and give it to his children. Okay, so it is mentioned from the companions as well. So anyway, we learn from this hadith that the companions, they used to always propagate the Quran and Sunnah and act upon the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If the Prophet of Allah has taught us something, they would not go to anything else. If there's a verse of the Quran, then they would basically recite this Quran. That's why there was another Sahabi, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he actually went on a journey, and when he was coming back from a journey, he was very hungry, because they were coming back, and they passed by a village, and they asked for food, but they didn't give any food, etc. They continued, and then someone from the village came and said, "Is anyone amongst you does ruqya?" Okay, he said, "Why?" Abdullah bin Abu Sa'id al-Khudri said, "Why? Why are you asking?" He said, "One of our leader has been bitten by a snake or a scorpion, and we need someone to do some ruqya." Yeah. So Abu Sa'id al-Khudri said, "Okay, no problem. Let us go to see him." He went to see, and he realized that he's been bitten by something. So Abu Sa'id al-Khudri recited Surah Al-Fatiha. Recited so many times Surah Al-Fatiha, so many times that after he finished reciting Surah Al-Fatiha, and he was massaging that area as well, the affected area, subhanallah, كأنما نشط من عقال. The hadith mentioned that, this person basically stood up straight away. Straight away he got up. It's like someone have pins and needles, yeah, and then suddenly when it goes away, you find that energy, and then you realize that you feel energetic and you get up. This is what happened. Or if you tie an animal, yeah, and then you let it loose, then it runs. Okay, that's the meaning. It's like suddenly he got up and it's like nothing has happened to him. Yeah, and then they were so happy. They gave him so many flocks of goats. And they said, they came back, they slaughtered it, and they ate it. And then he mentioned it to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "How did you know that there was cure for this illness in Surah Al-Fatiha?" In other words, the Prophet praised him, that well done for recognizing that Surah Al-Fatiha has got cure. So we learn from Quran and Sunnah, when we read the hadith and the biography of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that whenever they used to be ill, they always recited the Quran, they recited the dua, the adiyah, they recited the sunnah du'as, etc. Yeah, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. But they also, got medical help as well. Let's not make it, overcomplicate this. A man came to see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, "Oh, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I'm ill, etc." The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that, "You know what? Go." He sent him far away to Taif, which is about 90 kilometers from Mecca. He said, go to see Ibn Kalada. Go to see him, Al-Harith ibn Kalada. Okay, or Al-Harith ibn Kilda. Go see him, because this person, he's got knowledge of medicine. So the Prophet ﷺ, he himself sent him to a doctor. Yeah. So therefore, when someone is ill, then you see a doctor. Okay, if you think that you got COVID-19 or any sort of, like, the symptoms, etc., then you should get medical help. This is our teaching of our Sharia as well, and this is not against tawakkul. This is not against tawakkul. Okay, but at the same time, remember one thing: the ultimate shifa comes from Allah. The ultimate shifa comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To recite the Quran, and recite the ad'iyah, ma'thura, the dua of sabahiyya and masa'iyya, the morning du'as and the evening du'as, the du'as of protection, recite them as well. In our old, I've read books on, that took place during, books about plague in the past. Okay, I've read many books. One of the books that I read is by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah ta'ala. And subhanallah, he mentioned that when the time of plague that happened in Egypt, that all the people in Egypt, subhanallah, they resort to Quran and Sunnah, reciting Quran and ad'iyah and dua. Okay, and the Sheikh himself, in the book, he got a chapter, the du'as of protection. Okay, he wrote a book in regards to plague, yeah, how plague happens and etc. And then in the book, he's got a chapter there where he talks about, what do you call the du'as of protection. Okay, Qul a'udhu bin nas, Qul a'udhu bil falaq, he wrote those surahs, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum, and some ad'iyah from Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is okay. Basically, our scholars were very strong. They're always telling us that in all circumstances, no matter what kind of illnesses you have, okay, we're going to resort to Quran and ad'iyah, ma'thur, and dua from our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq, inshallah ta'ala, to love the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because of them we get to learn so many hadiths of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We get to learn about our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they gave us so much details. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah ta'ala, join me again next week, next Monday at 7 o'clock, where I will be reading more hadith, inshallah, from Hayatus Sahabah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.